versus.
Yo, what is up, everyone? It is Sam from CMOTK, and today we got a matchup on the go between Mark and Nigel. Mark is on his Zacian Lucario Melmetal deck, and Nigel is on the Toxtricity Remax. Now, before the match starts, be sure to leave a like and drop a sub. If you like what we do here, it really does help. Anyway, we see that Mark is going first. Nigel wanted to go second. I don't really agree with that because you're an evolving deck. You want to go first. Plus, giving Mark the first turn lets him just set up bonkers with Intrepid Sword. And that could really screw Nigel over in the long run. Other than that, I think that both guys here are favored evenly because, like, the Zacian deck, it just sets up really nicely and really fast. Because as early as turn 2, you're usually smacking something for 220 with that Brave Blade attack. And Nigel's setup is going to have to match that. I think on Nigel's side, the Toxtricity VMAX can OHKO Mark Zacian even with the Metal Frying Pan on, because Toxtricity does 250 even after the poison. So I feel like that if Nigel can survive the early game onslaught, he can get the advantage for late game, which I think is going to be the key to success for Nigel. So we do see that Mark is leading 2 Jirachis, and Nigel is leading a Boltund and a Toxtricity, which is very good because Nigel can use Electrify on the second turn to set up that Toxtricity really nicely. But Mark, with the first turn advantage, we see that he's already going bonkers. Stellar Wish for the Quick Ball. And Zacian is going to be into play. Mark is going to be able to load up that Zacian with energy if he can get an attachment this turn. And lo and behold, we see that he's Stellar Wish again. The Frying Pan comes into play. Frying Pan makes Zacian very bulky, giving it 250 instead of 220 HP basically. However, in this matchup, Toxtricity is still hitting that number, so it isn't that good. But hey, it's still something that can put Mark at an advantage in the early game. We do see that Mark gets another Stellar Wish, bringing Boss's Orders to hand. Now, if Mark can keep that in his hand, that could be something very good to have. Plus, Nigel seeing that will have to worry about things that he benches and the way that he plays the game. And we do see Mark getting that Intrepid Sword off, and Mark does get into the Metal Energy. And we see Nigel is now starting his turn. We see the Toxtricity VMAX in his hand for the next turn. In Mark's hand, we see 3 Crushing Hammers. Oh man, Nigel could be in for something. Nigel's early game setup can very well be hampered by that and the other disruption that's in Mark's deck. But Nigel still has a pretty good start besides that, because he can use Boltund's Electrify to get that Toxtricity loaded up and ready to go. I think for Nigel, the big thing will be getting that Trubbish into play, as it means that he can use Barboder to allow Toxtricity VMAX to hit for that full 250 at the start. Which means that if Mark inevitably brings up Zacian to KO Boltund next turn, then Nigel can return the knockout. But unfortunately, we see the Electrify go off, but no Trubbish to be seen. Which again is very unfortunate because we do see the Garbodor in Nigel's hand, so if he had that Trub, that would have been pretty busted. Now we do see Mark Crushing Hammer. He whiffs 2. Oh, that's unfortunate. And does he get that throw? No, he whiffs all 3. Ouch, that's hurting. Yeah, if Mark gets on that energy off, especially on the tops, then that would have been really good for him. But he does get some more Zacian in play at least. We see that he manually catches the metal. So if he can Metal Saucer, then that Brave Blade is going to be knocking out Boltund. And we see the Power Plant go off, which that could be bad for Nigel, because it means Nigel can't use Zen GX to set up his board and draw more cards. So he's going to be a bit hampered by that. And Mark is just really rolling here. We see the Metal Saucer that Zacian is getting the attack off on turn 2, very explosive. And Jirachi has an escape board ready to tag out into that Zacian. But not before Mark got to use that Stellar Wish again. We see the Bike also letting Mark go through that deck more. And no, you do not discard the Zamazenta V, bro. Good call. Yeah, that's another thing. Mark has the Zamazenta in deck, which is a very powerful tool since Nigel's running a VMAX deck, basically. So, if Mark can utilize the Zamazenta V, which, for clarification, it is immune to all damage from VMAXs. So if Mark can set up that Zamazenta, and Nigel could be in a tough spot, and we'll have to come up with a creative way to get around that VMAX, that V. Besides boss orders, but again, you want to save the bosses for what counts. And we see Nigel trying to bench at Tox, which honestly, I don't agree here. I probably would have waited turn until you have the energy attachment to give to that Toxtricity. Because right now, if it's just sitting on the bench and you're not attaching any energy to it, that's just boss bait for Mark. But we see Mark is already ahead in the prize tree. We see Nigel getting that Trubbish out, which is good, but again, if he had a last turn, that would have been so explosive. But hey, he's getting it up now, which is pretty good, because it means he's going to be able to set up his board pretty nicely now. Again, Toxtricity just is going to have a better late game presence in this matchup, I feel. Because eventually, Nigel's going to be making them Zacian drop. Unfortunately, Nigel isn't KOing that Zacian and is only chipping it down with a nice little 130. It's still good though, because putting a damage on board will be crucial for Nigel. Again, but we do see Mark trying to see. The question is, can he get the switch out and Brave Blade again? Because putting damage on that VMAX will put a lot of pressure on Nigel. Honestly, if Mark can find a way to power up that Zamazenta, as far-fetched or unlikely as may be, then honestly Nigel's in a tough spot because Nigel will have damage on the Toxtricity. But even so, if Mark gets a switch here, he'll be in good hands. Because the sooner that Toxtricity VMAX drops, the better of a place Mark is going to be in. We do see Mark play the Marnie, giving Nigel a fresh new hand. We see the Garbodor in Nigel's hand, which is very nice. We see the Oranguru come down for Mark. We see Mark manually retreat, which is a drag, meaning he did not find that switch that we wanted to find. Because again, if Mark got that attack off on Toxtricity, Nigel will be in a tough spot. We do see the Metal Saucer, but we don't see an energy to accompany it. Especially considering Mark already attached this turn. It's very unfortunate, but you can't draw all the gas cards every time, right? Gotta have some good luck. We do see Mark use the Primate Wisdom. Probably readying an energy for Intrepid Sword to go off. And we do see Mark get that energy and get some more cards into his hand. That's the thing with Zacian. Pokemon that are both draw engines and attackers have been they have been historically good. Take a look at Zorak, who we were dealing with in the last format. That just tore things up. And we do see it again in Zacian. Anyways, the fact is, Nigel's best interest is probably now attempting to set up that other Toxtricity, because if he can evolve into a VMAX and get the energy attachment off, then I think he'll be in a good spot. We do see the Dance of the Ancients go off here. Nigel props that landing onto the Toxtricity. It is vulnerable to boss orders if Nigel can't evolve into the VMAX, though. And we do see the research going down. Switch goes in the discard, but that shouldn't be a problem for Nigel since he does play 4. And question is, does Nigel find a VMAX? I do see the Pokemon Communication in hand. He benches a Trubbish, and does he Pokemon Communication for the VMAX? Because that Toxtricity was in play last turn. He goes for Garbodor. I do not agree with that. I feel like that if he went into the VMAX, then that would have prevented Mark from Okoing that other Toxtricity. And overall, Mark can just either reset Stamp or Marnie it, and that communication is gone, and he has almost out to get a Pokemon.
Yeah.
So I can't really agree with the play, but at least Nigel does get the knockout on that Jirachi. However, that is also kind of good for Mark, because Mark forcing Nigel to take out that Jirachi forces Nigel into a 7-prize game, where Mark can just go ham with his 2 prize attackers, and it really doesn't inherently change much in the prize trade. Nigel still has to knock out 3 of those big boys. We do see Mark with the boss, and we see who he's targeting. We see the Toxtricity. And again, very unfortunate, because if that were a VMAX, then perhaps that wouldn't be going down this turn to a Brave Blade. But alas, it is going down. Now, if we're Nigel here, I think that means that you don't set up another Toxtricity for the rest of the game, because you don't need to. Mark needs 3 prizes to win, and taking out that VMAX is going to give Mark all the things he needs to win. So if Nigel just doesn't bench anything else, unless it's Dedenne maybe for draw support, then Mark is going to have to go through that VMAX, which I think is the best course of attack here. But we do see Mark fueling up that Zamazenta, which could be problematic for Nigel. Mark takes 2 prizes. He is very inherently ahead. But Nigel can still come back. Again, Toxtricity will be better at setting up that late game presence. We do see Nigel with the Acrobite here. Nigel benches the Toxtricity. Again, I don't agree with that because Mark will have to go through the VMAX, but now that you bench that, Mark can boss order that up. Because there's really no need to set up 2 VMAX if one is already getting the job done. But we do see that perhaps he wanted to have something to attach to speed energy too, but he could have just attached it to the VMAX, obviously. And we see that the Toxtricity is going to be KOing Zacian. So Nigel gets some more prizes, 3 more to win the game here. But again, it means that Nigel will still have to muscle through two prizes if Mark plays cards right here. The Zamazenta is getting fueled up. If Mark can get that in the active position and put some pressure on that Tox, then Nigel can be in a rough spot. We do see the Mallow and Lana off the Stellar Wish here. Question is if that's the play Mark goes for. We do see Mark take it to hand and knock the boss's orders here. I think the solid play could be Mallow and Lana, the Drachi, into the Zamazenta. That puts the damage on. And we do see the Mallow Softer. Mark is trying to fuel up another Zacian, which is probably Mark's path to victory here. If he can use Mallow and Lana out just to attack the Toxtricity VMAX with the Zamazenta, a Brave Blade will end the game. So question is if that's the play that we see Mark doing. We see Mark bench another Zacian, though again, unnecessary because Nigel doesn't really need to, and it just leaves one more thing on the bench. But no, we see Mark Intrepid Sword here. Honestly, I can't say I agree with that, but it does set up a Zacian faster, but honestly, it doesn't really inherently matter in that case, because getting the damage off on that VMAX would have been a lot better in that situation. And that allows Nigel to just get ahead here. He can take down that Drachi and kind of mitigate the 7 prize game Mark was trying to set up. And Nigel just gets an opportunity to draw some more cards. And for Mark, that one turn could definitely be game defining because who knows, if Nigel can somehow get a boss orders and all this, then Mark could be done for because Mark can't take down that Toxtricity VMAX now. He'll have to take the extra turn to attack with the Soul Tackle. Now we see Nigel in hand. He does play down the E powers, which perhaps is good to know them here as the extra damage really isn't doing much because inherently you do knock out everything anyways, except for the Zamazenta, which you can't really attack anyways. We do see Nigel take out that Drachi. Nigel's down to 2 prizes. A boss's orders on his next turn wins the game. Can Mark come back from this is the thing. It all depends on Nigel not getting that boss. I think if Mark has a reset stamp here, that could be really strong. Mark does find his 4th Crushing Hammer, though I feel like Nigel does. I see the energy in Nigel's hand. That really isn't doing much here. We see Mark go for the Marnie, which could be good. Less cards in hand for Nigel means less chances to draw into the boss. Though another thing that sucks for Mark is that if he can find another power plant, that'd be good, because if Nigel gets the Dedenne like we see in his hand, then Nigel has yet again another out to draw the boss order. So do we see Mark play down the power plant? I see in his hand. No, that's a frying pan actually. But again, making that Zacian as bulky as possible won't be doing much. And then we see a quick ball here. We do wonder what Mark will be getting. As we see Mark go through the deck, we see that perhaps it's just an attempt to mill some cards. But either way, Nigel is close to winning, and he must be very, very excited. Mark goes for the Dedenne of his own. Since Power Plant is not playing, Mark can play his own Dedenne and take advantage of the fact that Nigel went for a Stadium Change. Though Mark doesn't play it down this turn, saves it for the next turn. Though again, I feel like digging for the power plant might have been the play here. But we see that either way, Nigel had the boss in hand anyways. And this should be the end of the game because that Toxtricity is doing 240, well, 210 after Bell Frying Pan, but if he uses Garbodor to poison, then that's just 250 right there anyways. So, either way, Nigel has game, even if he doesn't know he has it yet or not. But yeah, this definitely was a very good match. Nigel just flexing, going through his deck, draw some more cards because he can, why not? But yeah, that should probably be the end of the match as soon as Nigel realizes that Zacian is down for the taking. Anyways, thank you for watching the video, and we will have more matches on the go in the future. Especially some really spicy ones coming up. And yeah, this is Sam from Team OTK signing off. And until the next time, you have a good one.